Hey, buddy. Nothing. I'm
Yeah, it's a good
what's the
word.
crack?
Yeah, what's the crack?
I've started going on the road again for work.
Ooh.
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So my old routine, as you know, used to be like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, I'm on the road, and then Mondays and Fridays I work from home and I'm home. And it's starting to be that again. Right now I'm gonna do Wednesday, Thursdays, and then do Monday, Tuesdays, Fridays from home. But I'm on the road. Like I left the house at 7 a.m. this morning. I was on the road. Which the only thing I'll say that's not bad about that, I can listen to, I got satellite radio free with my new car, so I get the NHL network on satellite radio.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's
Is
pretty
it?
good.
Is
It is
it?
pretty good. I'm not gonna
I like
lie.
to hear that.
It's
I like to hear that.
it's they do prospect talk at, like, 10 o'clock, which is great, and so I'm getting up to date, and it's helping me with Puckadoo.
Mhm.
So for the listeners who don't know, Pez introduced me to this thing called Puckadoo, which is how do I describe what it's just
So,
awesome.
I have
Describe
thanks to Mills on Twitch, who's a sports streamer, I am obsessed with sports grid games. So, there is Immaculate Grid, which is baseball. There is NFL Gridiron, Immaculate Gridiron, which is football. There is an NBA one, but I don't think I know the NBA well enough to go through that. And then there's uh Puckadoo. And
We'll call it
basically what it
Puckadoo,
is.
but I think it's Puckdoku.
Yeah, we'll call it whatever we want. And these dorks will have to deal with it. Basically what it is it is a 9 square grid. And you have teams or statistics in columns and rows, and you need to make them line up. Like if a column was the Boston Bruins and the first row was the Montreal Canadiens, you need to pick a player who has played for Boston and Montreal, and you do that through. It's a daily game. You get nine shots. They
I'm
call it.
blanking right now.
You
Like,
get
I'm
nine
blanking. Chris
guesses.
Nyland. Chris Nyland. Yeah, it was easy.
Yeah,
Oof.
there you go.
I'm
You
blanking, and I
get
said it right away.
you get 9 guesses. And it is just one of these games that tests your knowledge of sports. And I turned Court onto the hockey one, and every day
It it's
Court,
bad.
Waba, and I share our scores in our three dads chat. Court usually wipes the floor with us. It usually goes in order. Court has the lowest score, and then I'm in the middle, and then Wab is last.
Well, I think also I get the lowest score because I challenge myself. If I'm using newer players, it's actually harder for me. Which is hilarious, but at the same time, most people are putting the newer players.
Yeah,
So for me, as long as there is no team that didn't exist at the end of the year 2000, I'm
you're
taking
good.
out like the Clint Malarchuk. So I'm just like, I'm gonna throw some stunners. Like you threw Greg Zanon in there, that was good. But
Yeah,
like I think it was today. Hold on, I could pull it up. I did one where it was like Danny Heatley was even low. I'm like, really? Like how no one picked Danny Heatley? I was like, oh, there's another one. Look, see, every time I go in there, oh, because sometimes I'll click it on through Twitter.
oh, gotcha.
So, like, okay, so here's an example, people. So I'd already done this, but I only got 8 and 9, so I could technically cheat now and get the whole thing. But like, you have LA and Calgary. So everybody I saw, the number one answer was Tyler Toffoli. That
Mm.
wasn't even a thought to me. Like, that's the funniest part. I'm like, I've started like thinking about upper deck hockey cards, and I'm like, okay, and that's how I was doing it in my brain.
You know where I went with that one? Number 17, Milan Lucic.
Well, that was my pick.
Oh, was
That's
it?
what I went.
Nice,
Yeah, I
nice.
did Lucic, but like Buffalo, Tampa. Who was your pick?
I don't remember. I did it this morning. I don't remember. I'm not gonna pull it up right now.
So I did Dave Anderchuk.
And the thing about is at the end you get a uniqueness score. So when you pick your player, there is a percentage up in the corner, and that is the percentage of players that have used that player. So yesterday for Bruins of Minnesota, I used Greg Zanon, and it was 0.5. So 0.5%, half a percent of the player base use Greg
Well,
Zanon. So
the
you want
very
your
first,
unique score to be
yes,
as low as possible.
I got a 0.0.1 as the very, very, very first Puckadoo that Pez sent me, and I think maybe that's why like Court, you got to do today's was Vancouver, Boston in a
Yep.
little corner.
And there
So I was
was
like,
Bobby L.
It was the easiest thing, and you can actually look up how many people. I was the only one that selected that, but I've also got other
Mhm.
people. Mick Calaggio from the South Coast Times, a Boston
Yeah.
Bruins writer. I sent it to him, and he was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Your life is over now."
Dude, he would love it. You know who else would love it? Kirk Luedeke would love it. Uh,
Oh yeah.
like it's just it's fun, and I do the baseball one. I'm not great at it. I do the hockey one, which I think I'm pretty good at. I do have a problem with California, like West Coast teams, because I don't pay attention to them a lot. But
I
I'll be
find I'm
fine.
better in the morning than I am at the end of the day. When I try and look at it, for some reason, my brain, if I'm trying to do two separate things, but when I'm at the gym and I'm working out, that's when I do them, and I'm just like,
Oh, really? That's a great idea. And you're
but
focused.
I will say, so I was talking the Beers and Bruins guy. They are all doing it, and a whole bunch of people. So one person was like, as long as you are just looking up players' names, like if you're like, okay, it's definitely this guy, but like because we're old, I'm allowed one phone a friend. This is the way I
Mm,
do it. I'm like,
I
okay,
like it.
I can look up one player, but like you can't look up teams. My rule is can't look at when it was San Jose and who was it? San Jose and somebody. I picked Sandis Ozolinsh.
Mm.
And I was like, oh, San Jose and the New York Rangers. I was like, Sandis Ozolinsh. I was the only one who picked this guy. But I looked, I was like, yeah, I'm like, he definitely did it. I'm like, okay, I've just got to make sure. And then I'm like, yeah, he definitely did.
Yep.
Okay, my brain's
Yep.
not wrong because it's just I got to retrain my brain because the 1990s, for people that are listening, players got traded a heck of a lot more than
All the
these guys
time.
do.
All the time. All the
And when
time.
in doubt, Lee Stempniak or Mike
It's
Stapleton.
true.
When in doubt, Lee
Dude, Lee
Stempniak or Mike
Stempniak has
Stapleton.
played on like 18 hockey
Mike
teams.
Stapleton's the most. I think I can look this up. I think Mike Stapleton is way more, way more.
It's
I said this to someone and they were like, oh my God. I'm like, he's the best. So Mike Stapleton has played for the Chicago Blackhawks, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Edmonton Oilers, the Winnipeg Jets, the Phoenix Coyotes, the Atlanta Thrashers, the New York Islanders, the Vancouver Canucks. And then
dang.
what'd you say? I said Lee Stempniak, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Lee
he's probably played on like
Stemp.
6 teams, I'm going to guess.
Oh,
One of them being your Boston Bruins.
yeah. Well, yeah.
He might
Okay.
be coming back to your Boston Bruins.
Well, we always well, that's the only way they're gonna get fans nowadays, eh? Because that's like
Yeah.
the new thing.
You
Hey,
got to you got to
let's retread on all these players.
bring back the classics.
But I also don't like that the newer traded guys don't work.
No, they have to have played one game with their current team. Because there was one, I think it was Flyers Bruins, and I put JVR and it didn't work. And someone
So
said they have to have at least played one regular season game.
Lee Stempniak is actually gold. Okay. He's better than Mike Stapleton. St. Louis
Oof.
Blues, Toronto Maple Leafs, the Phoenix Coyotes, the Calgary Flames, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the New York Rangers, the Winnipeg Jets, the New Jersey Devils, the Boston Bruins, the Carolina Hurricanes, and then 2 games with the Boston Bruins. So
Oof.
he pretty much, if you get anybody in the
The East,
in the Rangers division, which is what
the Atlanta Metro.
the Metropolitan or the Atlantic, you can just put Lee Stempniak.
Lee
As long as the
Stempniak.
team is the Atlantic or the Metropolitan, put Lee Stempniak.
So I love these games. I think they're fun. They're silly, obviously, but like it's just fun to. I got a baseball one and it was like 300. What was it? It was
I just like getting that unique score, like picking the ones that no one
yeah,
picked.
it was like 300 wins and goal in a Gold Glove or something like that. And it was like,
Dude, I
oh,
was laughing when they put
Greg
the
Maddux,
wins, the Vezina for the Montreal Canadiens, and I picked Patrick Waugh, and I'm like, how is he only like 30 something percent?
right?
And I'm like, oh my God, everybody picked Carey Price. I'm like, oh my God,
Everyone picked
I'm
Carey
old.
Price, but I went
I'm
Patrick Waugh.
old.
Yeah, we're old, so we pick old players. We pick old players.
Like Wayne
But
Gretzky wasn't number 1 for the LA Kings. I was in
yeah, for
shock for the
50
50
plus
assists.
assists, I couldn't believe it.
You-
That was today's.
Mhm.
Today's.
Kopitar, number 1.
I didn't even. I was gonna guess Kopitar, and I was like, "Ooh, I don't even know if he went 50 plus
Marcel
assists."
Dion. This one's easy. I used to be a LA Kings fan. So you got Wayne Gretzky, Marcel Dion, Bernie Nichols, Luc Robitaille, Anze Kopitar, Mike Richards,
Oh man, Mike
Jeff
Richards
Carter. I'm sure Jeff Carter
had to have. He was a
had to have.
beast in LA. He was a
Hold on,
beast
I
in
gotta
LA.
look that. He was a beast in LA.
So if you're a big sports fan, Immaculate Grid, Puck Doku,
No, 38,
What?
sorry, 38
Ser-
assists.
really?
38 assists 1 year.
Wow. Wow. I would have put money that he was a 50 plus assist for LA. I
Yeah,
would have put
38.
money on it.
But
Uh,
he,
po-
well, he got injured a lot, it looks like a lot.
that was like his career thing, was getting injured. I think until he went to Pittsburgh, and then he was pretty
Ooh,
healthy
he's
in
a good
Pittsburgh.
choice too, by the way. Philly, Columbus, Los Angeles, Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
This is some travels.
Yep. Yep. Could have
Dustin
hit.
Penner's a good one. He goes around the
Oh
block.
my God.
Washington, Anaheim,
Corey
Edmonton.
Perry
Well, it's
played on
those
like a
East
million
Coasters.
teams.
When you talked about it, I was like, you're not wrong. Those are
Yeah.
hard.
The West Coast teams, man, they're difficult for me. Like the Ducks, anything with the Ducks, I'm not going to get it.
Same.
I don't.
I'm right there with you, dude.
Outside of like,
Ooh.
Solani, I think I got one. I think it was Vesna Trophy for the Ducks. I got Jaguar. Oh no. I don't think he won a Vesna. It was like save percentage or something. It was something I got him. But like outside of like a few players, there's no way.
And also, you can look up how to spell a player's name.
The only thing I don't like, because both the NFL and the NHL has this problem, is when they have players that have the same name. Is when they have the same name. And especially the worst one is Sebastian Aho, because it'll say blah blah to present. So the Carolina Sebastian Aho is whatever, 2009 to present. And then the other Sebastian Aho, who I think may play on the Islanders now, I don't know, he did at one point, is also like 2007 to present. So you have to know when they started. And that screwed me, I think, yesterday, because I picked the wrong Aho, because they're spelled the same, exact same. There's no difference in how the name's spelled. And the starting year is off like 2 years.
I've got one for you, Pez. The best name in hockey in the 90s was Bob Beers. I thought he only played for the Bruins.
He played for like 4 teams, didn't he?
Yeah, dude. So Boston, Tampa, Edmonton, Islanders, Boston again. So he can be used. No one's going to use him.
No, Bobby Beers, baby.
Game on my hockey team when we used to travel a long distance. We used to play this game where you'd say a player's name. So if I said Bob Beers, you had to say a player's name that started with that last letter. So anytime someone ended it, so like you say Owen Nolan, then you got Nick Antropov, then you're back at A. Like you just keep going. You just O is going to get you, because there's Olaf Kolzag, there's Owen Nolan. But then if you get a double, so it'll go like, say it was me, you, and Waba playing, and Waba goes, then it goes to me, and then it goes to you. But if I do a double letter, so I do Bob Beers, it goes back to Waba.
Dang. Oof.
Yeah,
that'd be rough. That is rough. That's exciting. That's fun.
It's a great game.
Yeah, that's fun.
Look at us. We just did 14
minutes
about Puckadoo.
Yeah, for all our sports people out there, if you want to do daily grid games that'll take, 20 minutes most, and, Immaculate Grid for baseball, NFL Immaculate Gridiron for football, and then Puck Doku for hockey.
What's the basketball one called? Just
I don't know. I've never done it because I don't know it well enough.
Yeah. Basketball. Yeah. It's not that it's a bad sport. It's just not my thing.
No, I mean, I like
when
it.
The Raptors win the championship, then
I like the NBA, and I can talk to you about like 90s NBA, but like that mid 2000s
slam dunk competition.
But like once you get into the mid 2000s, we were hanging and banging, so it was a lot of dark years, a lot of black years I don't remember.
Jesus. All right.
Well, it is what it is.
Do you remember the game that you were telling me about before we even started this whole show?
Oh man, so yeah, we are a gaming podcast, so thanks for being here.
Well, you know what? We're not really.
No, we're just we want to talk about what we want to talk about. But the Steam Summer Sale is going on, so rise up, PC nerds, because we are getting some incredible sales.
PC.
That's right. Hey, stop it. So I had some money in my Steam wallet because I bought some terrible game. I forget what it's called, and I just returned it. So I decided to get the Artful Escape. It was highly recommended by Court, I think in 2020 when it came out.
I love that game.
Court put it at like his game of the year, and I said, you know what? I'm not vibing with AAA games right now, and we can talk about that in a minute. But I've always had this love of indie games, and Annapurna, the developer, the publisher, They put out games like Stray. They just had a showcase, I think, last month. So they put out some pretty good games. So I said, let's take a shot. And man, I am vibing with this game. I'm feeling this game. It is exactly what I needed right now. It's a story about the nephew of a very well-known folk singer, and
His last name Lightning. I can't
no,
remember.
no, no.
I'll look it up.
Lightman was
I'll look
like
it
the
up.
dude
Keep
he
going.
met.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, you're right.
So he goes on this journey to actually become who he is. So he is like he's like transitioning into a rock star, basically. He doesn't want to play folk music. He wants to play like rock music, metal music. So you go through this story of learning who he
Francis
is
Vendetti.
and what he wants to do and be the person he wants to be, not the person he thinks everybody needs him to be. And I'm just really connecting with it right now because I'm going through a personal transition that we talked about last week on the podcast, starting a new job, first place in 15 years, and all this stuff. So I'm very much connecting with it. And the voice acting is great. Jason Schwartzman is one of the voice actors. Carl Weathers, my man from The Predator, Lena Headey from Game of Thrones. Like they have like some very good voice acting. It runs incredible on PC. It runs incredible on Steam Deck. It's about 4 or 5 hours long. It's not super long, and it is just hitting me at the right time. And I have found myself sitting here in awe of what I'm seeing on the screen because the visuals are great. The voice acting is great. The sound is crisp and clear, and playing the guitar. There's like little guitar mini games, almost like a Simon Says on your controller. That's like a lot of fun. And I highly, again, Core talked about it years ago. I highly recommend it because it is just hit me at the right time. And I'm definitely vibing with it.
Yeah, it launched on Game Pass. I finished it there. It's also, for the people that haven't played it, it's on PlayStation Plus right now, and it's an easy platinum. But it's one of those easy platinums that rewards you for playing it because one of the things I love about it, every level is beautiful, but you don't realize that you can walk through it and not play the guitar, of Vendetti's guitar as you walk through to become Lightman. That's what your goal is, to become Lightman. And as you're going through, if you play your guitar constantly, the background changes and everything becomes more vibrant. It's crazy to even say it, how much more vibrant it becomes. But man, I love that game.
Yeah,
Like, it's so good.
It's so good. So I highly recommend it, especially if you're not feeling some of the games that have come out lately. Like I mean, there are some big AAA games that have come out that for me it was Diablo 4. I bought it. Thankfully I didn't buy it at full price, but I bought it. Got to like level 30 and was like, oh, I think I'm done.
I'm right there with you.
I don't know what it is. People keep telling me that the state of gaming is good, and I think I agree with them, but I just don't think any games are really up my alley right now. Like I find myself going back to the show or even to the Division or games that we've already played.
You playing the show. You saw me playing the Division. You still played the show yesterday.
I
still played the show.
I cannot stop playing it March to October. I don't know why. I'm obsessed. I haven't touched Diamond Dynasty. It's all March to October.
I am right there with you. I got to just about level 30 in Diablo 4, and I was playing with other people, and I was a great time. And then I stopped playing to review a game. I can't remember at the time. And then I went back. I'm like, yeah, I don't even care. I went as far as I've deleted it off my hard drive. I'm like, yeah, I'm never going back. And then I started Final Fantasy 16. I was like, this game's amazing, having so much fun. Thought the game looked beautiful. And 30 hours into that game, I'm like, I started fast forwarding cutscenes, and I'm like, oh my God. And then I turned that off and started playing Division 2 with you and the boys, and I was right back into it. And I said to you before, I think I'm very excited about Assassin's Creed Mirage. Jedi Survivor still is my game of the year. I love that game. But once again, what can you do in those games? You have a map and you clear off the things on the map. I like those games. I also do like very story-driven games, but I think Final Fantasy was my first Final Fantasy playing. And I think I had the experience and I'm like, I'm out. I think I'm going to stick to the games that I already know I like, and I'll buy the games like Diablo and Final Fantasies when they go on sale. I don't need to be there day one. I think I will go back to Final Fantasy 16 and finish it, but the new season in the Division 2, it got me in good.
Yeah.
I just finished the season's pass. I just hit a level 100 yesterday. Um, yeah,
I think I,
I got my
I'm almost
I
at
got my St.
90.
Elmo's.
I'm almost
Dude,
at
that
St.
St.
Elmo's.
Elmo's,
I'm
once
almost
you
there.
get that St. Elmo's and then you change your gear set and you put on like, what's the gear set that I changed to? Uh, my brain's just not working right now. It doesn't matter. You change your gear set once you get to St. Elmo's. I have it. The Firefox for the gloves and that, and then you change to a different gear set, and you're just, dude, you shred armor. Like I'm just destroying enemies.
Love to see it.
I'm getting level 4 control points, shred. I
Really?
shred them.
Oof.
Shred them.
The only
I'm
thing that
going
the only
I'm that
thing the
guy, like, you know
division
when you're playing
needs.
with people and they can just sit there and they just kill everybody in a second?
Yeah, that's you
I'm that
now.
guy right now.
You're that guy.
I did the, bunker with 3 other guys, and we finished it in under 12 minutes.
Oof.
We ran through this thing. We were
Good
all St.
lord.
Elmo's bills, and we're just ripping through
Good
everybody.
lord. You know what the division I wish had? I know Heartland's gonna have it, but it's not the same. Is crossplay. I wish I had
Dude,
crossplay.
I
That's
know.
it.
I'm right there with you, and I saw Robbie Bobby Miller in the chat before. Where have you been, dude? Join our clan. Play with us. Play with us.
Play with us.
Like, just wow,
We
Jesus.
have we have clan members on now, like all the time.
I keep adding people, if you noticed. I keep adding people to the clan
All the
from
time.
Carpool.
I
It's
just want to
great.
I want to raid. That's what I want to do.
Okay, so do I. I wanna go get we need to raid and all of us get the Eagle Barrel so we can, like, first we'll get it's the one achievement, I mean, trophy that I don't have. And then we could just, like, raise the Eagle Bearer and, like, dance around because we all get it, and it's the AR that we're never gonna use it,
No,
but at
but
least we can say we have it.
just to have it. That's it.
Just
That's it.
to
Just to
have
have it.
just to
Just to
have
have
it.
it.
I think that's fair. I think it's I don't know. I'm looking at the games that are coming out right now, and I'm like, okay, what am I excited about? I'm like, okay, I'm definitely excited about Assassin's Creed Mirage. I'm definitely excited about Spider-Man 2. But all these other games that I've never played before, I'm done being excited about them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what to expect from Starfield. I am
It's on Game
excited.
Pass though. I'll play it.
Yeah, true. We don't have to really, it's included in your subscription. You're paying a subscription, so you don't necessarily, you're not paying for the game, but you're paying for the game. I I'm excited for Baldur's Gate 3 because I've had it 3 years now in early access, so it finally launches August 3rd.
I am 100%
Um
out on that. Did you hear the latest news on that? So they've put out the amount of cutscenes and the time.
yeah, it's like
They
170 hours or something like
yeah,
that. It's
I'm
crazy.
so out on that game.
It's crazy. That's not going to be in one playthrough. That's
But
going
you
to
love
be with
D&D.
multiple
It's a totally different thing.
branches. Yeah. Plus I'm a D&D nerd, so it's right up my
Yeah.
alley. But yeah, I mean, there aren't many games I'm looking forward to, and I just go back and play my old ones. Really, that's what it is. Like I'm going back and playing the Division with my friends and we're having a great time, or I'm logging back into the show and just playing March to October because they screwed up Diamond Dynasty, because of course they did.
Oh, what'd they
Because
do?
I just don't like the way they set up Diamond Dynasty this year. I think it's
You don't like
terrible.
the sets?
I think
I
the
wish I
sets
could
are
play it.
terrible.
My arm says I can never play that game ever again.
I think the sets are terrible. I think there is, well, right now there's a bug that, like, if you do lineups on your phone, you can have all set one players. I just think it's dumb. So I will I'll just continue to play franchise because I think the franchise mode is probably the best. And then I'll go back and play some old games, or games that we get for review, but I don't think I'll be
Are
buying
you excited
something
for
in a
anything?
while. Just Baldur's Gate. Really, that's it. And I've already
How
played
Mirage, eh? It's only like 8 hours.
I've already played the first act. I'll get Mirage when it's on sale.
That's
Like,
a Ubi game, so that's definitely
yeah.
gonna happen.
Yeah, so it'll be on sale by, when's it come out? September?
It comes out
October?
October 20th.
So it'll be
So,
on sale by American Thanksgiving.
yeah, like, for
I'll
me,
buy
I
it
look
then.
at the new one, they just put out a new trailer for it, and they're it's pretty much they're saying it's AC 1 and 2.
Then
and
I'll
just
then I'll definitely get it. Then I
that's
will
what I'm
definitely
saying,
get it
dude.
on sale. If it's like AC 1 and 2 on sale, $40, I'm
Yeah,
all in.
it's a small skill tree, so they in the trailer, you could actually see they put up a skill tree. There's, like, 5 skills for each section, like your stealth, your combat, and your eagle. So, they've only got that much, and they've went back to, like, has, like, dropping the smoke and stabbing the guy or jumping from
Beautiful.
the top, like, all the great stuff, hiding in the stacks and actually doing that all, and then they've added this new thing where you can, like, you're like, I guess pretty much my guess is it's like the skill you get at the very end, but you can like attack like 5 guys at the same time. You
Oh,
just like
gotcha.
chain them. You
In like a
chain off
bullet
your
time type thing.
assassinations. And then Basim's a very cool character. I'm very excited to hop back into this world to see what they've done with it. And they also have the Histories of Baghdad, where in the other games, 'cause that's one of the things I actually like about Assassin's Creed, because you actually can learn in the game, which is, I know it's weird, but I actually like to. In I think it was Odyssey, the very first time when they called it the journey mode, and you were able to like walk around Egypt and like without enemies.
Yes.
So that is in the game with enemies and everything. So they have the History of Baghdad. You'll see like a little icon, and then you press a button, and you'll be able to see everything that's going on.
That's
It's
cool.
very cool. It's very cool.
That is cool.
I also have to disclose thank you to my friends at Ubisoft for providing me all this information, as I am a Ubisoft creator. Thank you, Ubisoft.
Hashtag Ubisoft creator, hashtag Ubisoft partner, hashtag
Yes.
all the stuff.
Yes, thank you.
Speaking of possibly changing the gaming landscape, Microsoft seemingly won a huge battle the other day against the FTC when the judge in the case ruled in favor of Microsoft in their purchase of Activision. Now, we've already heard rumblings, and it seems like it's been confirmed in the chat that the FTC will and has appealed it. But for
Yes,
now,
so just as Tom Warren has reported on The Verge, the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, says that it's appealing its recent U.S. federal court order that cleared the way for Microsoft to purchase Activision Blizzard. The FTC has filed a notice that is appealing Judge Jacqueline Scott Corley's decision, but we don't know the regulator's argument until full appeal is submitted in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Microsoft won the grueling fight with the FTC earlier this week, with the federal judge denying a preliminary injunction request from the U.S. regulator. The court finds the FTC, I say all these other words, and that's what I get stuck on, has not shown a likelihood it will prevail on its claim this particular vertical merger in this specific industry might substantially lessen competition. Judge Corley wrote in the ruling, to contrary, the record evidence points to more consumer access to Call of Duty and other Activision content. Now, also, they say the Microsoft Activision deal could face new merger investigation in the UK, as the CMA and Xbox or Microsoft are trying to work something out behind the scenes, but the UK Competition and Market Authority, the CMA, is throwing a caution over the idea of a quick resolution to its concerns around Microsoft's proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. Microsoft and the UK regulators, this is also by Tom Warren from The Verge, were extremely quick to issue a statement over the intention to pause their Activision battle to negotiate after Microsoft won a key FTC legal fight yesterday. But now the UK regulators say Microsoft's proposal may lead to a new merger investigation. In a statement to The Verge supplied by CMA officer Billy Proudluck, the regulator warns that the discussion with Microsoft are at early stages. So the victory lap that was made by fans of the only the one plastic box, which is the Xbox, it seems it's premature. My opinion here is let this thing go through, because I do believe that it will get better video games out of this. PlayStation has had its heyday of being the top of the two of them, because let's be real, Nintendo eats their lunch every day, and all they do is put out like 5 games a year. But this is needed. But I also warn people that I do think this just opens the door for you buy a studio, because if they say yes to this, and I think the FTC, what they're fighting for on cloud, I don't really think they have a leg to stand on here. Um, this is going to open the door to, like, there was an analyst who has nothing to do with video games put out a thing, and everybody started jumping on Twitter, where he was like, well, if you're doing a 1-to-1, then Sony goes and buys EA.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. This is the one worry I have is exactly that. So what if this goes through? I Microsoft has already said like, hey, Call of Duty will be on PlayStation and Nintendo, which is strange for
I think that means we're getting a Switch Pro.
definitely. But like, oh, it's going to be on for 10 years. So I think that probably saved their bacon in the beginning. But now, what if Sony goes out and says, you know what, fine, we're going to buy EA or we're going to buy Ubisoft or we're going to buy one of these major publishers and then we're going to make Assassin's Creed or Madden or FIFA. Like these games are now PlayStation exclusive and that's it. So there is a lot riding on this. I think if this goes through, and the reason it goes through is because of these like 10-year deals. I think that lessens the blow for consumer access, even if Sony went out to buy EA and they bought EA. If they said, you know what, we'll give Xbox 10 years of
The
Madden,
sports game.
10
If
years of
they bought
football.
EA, they would keep all the games, and then the sports games, they
Right.
would be like, "All right, you gave us Call of Duty, we'll give you the sports games because they
Exactly.
like money." And Madden what's it? It's not even called FIFA anymore.
No, it's EA Football Club or something like that.
Yeah, those print money.
Yeah.
So
So, but your Take Twos, your EA originals, not Take Two as in the studio, but like the game.
mhm.
But like, or your EA originals, like all that stuff is PlayStation exclusive, right? Your Lost in Random and stuff
Battlefield
like that.
is PlayStation
Um,
exclusive.
so it seems, yeah, I mean, there is a lot on the table riding on this. There's a lot
And I think
because,
it'll just go back and forth because then you're Microsoft, you're
of
like, "All
course, it
right,
will.
we'll go buy 2K." Okay, so now they have Grand Theft Auto, and once again, that'd be a game that you wouldn't want it to be console exclusive. So you're like, "All right, fine, but we'll make Red Dead console exclusive because that's the one you could do. You'd
Right,
Grand Theft Auto would be on all of them, Red Dead wouldn't." And then, PlayStation's like, "All right, then we buy Ubisoft." And then you're like, "Oh my," and then when does it end?
right,
And
right.
Nintendo just keeps sitting there going, "You're all just putting it on mine anyway, so what's the
Yeah,
difference?" And then people
Nintendo
on Steam are
doesn't
like,
care.
"PC, PC."
Yeah, we don't care at all because we get those games anyway, right?
Yeah,
We get all these games
100%.
anyway, so who cares? And Nintendo is it's funny because Nintendo hasn't really been brought up through any of this, right? Which leads me to believe that people don't really see Nintendo as a competitor to Sony and Microsoft, which is like it is what it is,
They're
but
not in the same space, but in the grand scheme of things, Nintendo kills them every time.
Nintendo doesn't have to be like, oh yeah, we're running out to buy Sega or Atlas because they're just like, hey, we have Mario and Zelda. We'll sell machines with Mario and Zelda. Oh, the Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I am also looking forward to playing.
Well, if you look at it, like, I can't oh my god.
Yeah,
Jesus, I totally forgot about that game looks
me too.
amazing. Like, that game looks
It
amazing.
looks cool,
And
man. It
that
looks
comes out
like
at the same time as Assassin's Creed, same
yeah,
day,
it's it looks like
October
someone
20th.
made it looks like someone made a Mario game on mushrooms, and I dig it.
It looks so good. But, yeah, Nintendo could buy Sega, and that would just make sense. But Sega's already said, "We're not for sale."
Yeah,
The ones that make sense is like, PlayStation and Square Enix. But if you're PlayStation, why do you need to buy Square Enix? You don't need to buy
you
Square
don't.
Enix. You already have those games anyways. Though
And the
the ones that
reason,
the
well,
EAs of the world, those are the ones, yeah, they'll
well, and
sell.
the reason why is Microsoft buying all these studios? Because
'Cause
they
they had no
have
games. They
they
had
have
no games.
terrible first party games. That's why.
They
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 had to
still
buy
do. As of
Bethesda
right now,
because
they do.
they had to go buy Bethesda because they have terrible first party games. So they need to tell you that like yes, actually Fallout and Skyrim and Starfield are actually first party games. And now we need to go get Activision because hey, Diablo and Overwatch and whatever is all for World of Warcraft. These are all technically first party games. Look at all our first party games. Sony doesn't need to do that. Sony's like, here's Spider Man, here's Wolverine in a couple of years. Here's Ghost of Tsushima. Here's all these games. Here's The Last of Us. Right? Here's Last of Us Factions. Like they're gonna put out all these first party games that are gonna sell incredibly well. So they necessarily don't need to run out to go purchase EA because their in
Well, I
house
don't think they
talent
do either,
is great. But
but
they could.
yeah, but I also think that's the new reality that we're gonna live in because once you open the floodgates, like the rumor is now that this has all come out and like, Sony's pretty much has to throw in the towel here and stop complaining and saying that they're not getting something when they're totally getting something. They're just doing it. I still don't have a reason. It's business, right? Jim Ryan's got to say what he's got
Yeah.
to say. There's a
Yep.
rumor Sony's going to have another showcase at the end of the year, and we're going to see some big, big games. because they
Good.
didn't want to be like, "We don't have anything," and then throw out a showcase in front of the FTC and be like, "Well,
Right.
you just,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
threw out banger after banger."
Right. Oh, actually,
I don't think it's a
me too.
coincidence that Sony's, showcase this year was like, "Womp, womp, womp," at the same time when they're trying to convince a federal government that they don't have anything, and that
What,
if they
don't
lose this game, Call of Duty, that I don't even play. Well, I play the campaign and then I don't care.
yeah.
Um, I don't know, man. It's so
What,
weird.
don't you wanna see the Gran Turismo movie? You probably do.
Mm, I don't. There's not even a
Ah,
little bit in me that's like, I wanna go see that movie.
ah,
Nothing in me is like, "You know what I need to do? I need to watch that terrible Twisted Metal show." And, well, it's sorry, I haven't seen it yet, so I shouldn't call it terrible,
I
but it
really
looks
won't.
bad.
It looks bad, but I'm gonna watch it.
Well, yeah, that looks perfect for you.
Solely on the fact no, it looks awful. Solely on the fact that Samoa Joe is Sweet Tooth. Samoa Joe's a wrestler.
I
Samoa
know
Joe!
I just I look
Samoa
at this
Joe.
whole thing, one, I'm not in the part of the person that like, "Oh, I want this over," because it's a great conversation all the time, because all it is it just adds more excitement to it.
Yeah.
I am of the mind that I think that this will provide, hopefully, better gaming for us, but I'd also at the same time am like, I look what the whole Bethesda thing did. So far, every game that they've released has not been good.
No. Not at all.
So,
We've
Starfield looks good, but you know what? Redfall looked good.
yeah.
Um,
We're not gonna know
Ghostwire
how s
Tokyo looked good.
we're not gonna know how Starfield is until it drops. It's gonna be one of those things because anytime Bethesda puts something out, it's like, yeah, this game's gonna be good.
But let me ask you this. This one game, does it make up for 10 years of bad games? Besides, I still say the Gears of War series, phenomenal. I look at it this way. It's interesting that the Gears of War games, especially Gears 5, released on the Xbox One. And I still think if they released, like, if Gears 5, they held it off and they made it day and date on the Xbox Series X instead of the game they thought they were going to put out, that even when they finally did Halo Infinite, it wasn't that good. Gears is better than Halo to me because they've done nothing with Halo. But if they got this Activision team, I would like literally walk up to Ravensoft and the rest of them and be like, "Fix Halo because it's bad. Fix
Mhm.
this." So hopefully we get a better Halo out of this acquisition, because Halo is a great franchise. They've just
Ugh.
ever since Bungie left them, it has gone downhill. But they've got the Gears franchise. But besides that, in the last 10 years, what have they had?
What have they had in the last 10 years that has been like I would say Forza Horizon?
A great game.
Great
I'll
game.
but that's a sports sim.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Um I mean, I don't think Psychonauts 2 was blowing doors
Sunset
off.
Overdrive was amazing.
Yep.
So Psychonauts 2 is my game of the year, but that wasn't console exclusive.
True. That's true. That's true. It is out on PlayStation and PC.
I
Um
love that game.
yeah, there's nothing really that like is coming to mind that like, oh,
Nothing that they made. The
yeah,
games
not
that were
yeah,
made, like, even the Bethesda games, those Bethesda was making them before Microsoft stepped in, and technically, Redfall only came out because Microsoft wanted them to, and Bethesda, when we read after the fact, they were, like, hoping the game would be canceled. But after the merger, they're like, "Well, we need a game, so you're putting this thing out."
right. Oh
And, yeah, they put it out
gosh.
alright.
Oh, they sure did. They sure stepped in it.
Yeah,
What a
so
terrible game.
it's fair. The track record hasn't been the best.
No.
Like, when Xbox 360 came out, we had Fable, we had Halo 2, we had Halo 3, some great games, Fable 2. No, Fable 2 was Xbox 360, Fable 1 was Xbox, right?
Yes.
And then Anniversary came out on the 360, right?
Yep, and then 3
It
came out.
yeah, and 3,
I know.
their track record is bad,
It's yeah, it
and
is bad.
PlayStation's isn't. So,
No.
it's a lot. I'm not gonna pick a side here, but I wanna bring it to sports, and as a sports analogy here. That if they took a victory lap on Starfield as this thing, like the people that console war and they're like, "I'm only PlayStation or I'm only Xbox." So if the only Xbox people take the victory lap, that's like what the Leaf fans did after they won the 2nd round this year.
100%.
It's just, are you
1000%.
kidding me? You can't, like, They literally need Xbox is going to need 5 years of banger after banger. How many games of the year have come out of PlayStation first party? How
Even
many
to be in the
amazing new
discussion.
IP have come out of PlayStation first party in the last 10 years?
You're right. You're right. And how many have come out of, Xbox Studios?
Yeah, exactly. Not
Not
stuff they
many.
bought.
Not many. We're not talking, but if Starfield goes up as a game of the year,
I'd say Sunset Overdrive and Forza Horizon, and that's it.
Not Sunset Overdrive. Starfield was being built way before Xbox stepped in. So I don't even know if you could give credit. I mean, I guess technically
No,
you
you
would have
can't. I
to,
you I can't give them
but
any credit. I can't. And
but
we're
no.
also finding out there's certain games that PlayStation got that Xbox was like, so, this is confirmed. Spider-Man was offered to Xbox first. Thank God they didn't take it because
Insane to turn it down.
Insomniac,
Insane to turn that down. Truly insane.
they're insane.
I mean, Insomniac is building some like Marvel universe. We already know there's 3 Spider-Man games.
That was
We're
the
gonna
most that was the biggest purchase that Sony has made in gaming in the last 10 years. It's bigger
smart.
than Microsoft buying Bethesda is Insomniac because you're getting better games out of the studio.
Yep. And now we're gonna get a Wolverine game. Again,
Dude.
I think it's like 3 years away, probably at
But
least.
it's in Canada, dude. It's
But
in Canada.
right up your alley. You're
I
gonna be
know.
playing
Did
and
you
be
see
like,
those pictures of Deadpool of Hugh Jackman wearing the suit? He's
dude,
wearing the
the
suit.
the Deadpool leak. Whew, great. I think
Yeah,
it's
but it
gonna
was
be
leaked by them. It was leaked by them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it's gonna be a Deadpool kills the universe story. I think it's gonna be
I
a Deadpool kills the Fox X-Men universe story.
100%.
And that is dope. I love
That's
that.
the great and he gets Wolverine to do it because he'll be like, "You know how you don't wanna do these movies anymore? Then help me. Let's kill them."
Yeah.
And then he kills all the canon, and he goes through and they kill everybody.
Yeah. And I think at the end, he probably kills Hugh Jackman. And then done. Hugh Jackman's done with Marvel. I don't know if he'll be
No, still he
Wolverine
can't
moving
because they
forward.
already said that the Wolverine, the Logan movie is canon still.
Oh,
So you
gotcha.
can't
Okay.
kill him because 'cause they're going back in time, right? So you can't kill him because he's gonna go die as Logan.
Gotcha. Okay.
So the only people that can make out of this is Logan and Professor X.
Yep.
Everybody else is gonna die.
Oh man. Logan is such a great movie.
I know.
Logan was such a great movie. Hey, speaking of great movies, now that Wob is not here, let's talk about Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, it's so good.
So
So
Court and I
I
have
love the fact that Waba's not here, that we can talk about this. We've been wanting to talk
gosh
about this for forever.
for weeks. For
Yeah.
weeks now. So Court saw it on opening night, or opening day.
Opening weekend.
I saw it opening weekend. I saw it 2 weeks ago with my 12-year soon to be 12-year-old. Court saw it with his 6, 7-year-old.
6. Yeah,
She's
6, soon
6.
to be 7. She loved
Um
it.
Talk to me about it. What did she think?
So that's the best part. We watched the first one when she was way too young to watch that movie, and she loved it. Spider-Gwen, everything like that. So when the second one hit, it was very interesting that my daughter, out of all her group of friends, was like the only one who was like, "Oh my god, I gotta go see the new Spider-Man movie." These kids didn't even know it existed. I have the kid that's like, "I gotta go see the new Spider-Man movie." So a friend of mine, him and his daughter came with us, and at first he was like, "Should we bring them to this?" And I'm like, it'll be fine." Both kids walked out of that going, "This is the best movie I've ever seen." And it brought me back to when we were young and I got to see Ninja Turtles and 1989 Batman when I was 9 years old when 1989 Batman came out. I remember
Mhm.
walking out of that movie theater going, I love this movie and everything else and every movie I'm ever gonna see, because Batman was the first one got to go see by myself, where my parents bought tickets, we walked in, and my parents saw a different movie, and they're like, "Just go see your movie."
Nice.
I saw Batman in the theater 22 times.
Woo.
Love that movie, and then we had Jurassic Park, and it brought on my love for movies. My daughter, we watch it. First of all, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem trailer is before the movie.
Looks so good.
Oh,
It
she's
looks
like,
so
"Daddy,
good.
we are seeing that movie." I'm like, "100%." Like,
I
don't
can't
even
wait.
think twice. She We got the AVX seats that move and,
Ooh,
like, they vibrate and they're like
yeah.
craziness as they move and, like, good stuff. She was mesmerized. She's turning her seat up to full power, like, Spider-Man's going through and doing everything. I don't wanna give away anything that happens in it because it's also a two-parter, so there's a cliffhanger at the end, I will say that. Um, I thought they did it's interesting because Marvel's done all these multiverse things. This did it right.
It's the best.
They brought every Spider-Man character, including Greg Miller's shirtless Spider-Man is in this. Yuri Lowenthal's, Spider-Man from the video games, from the PlayStation video games is in it. In fact, they have Spider-Man 2 footage being played in the dorm room while Miles is coming in the window, which is hilarious, and he's got a PlayStation 5 and everything. They did such a magnificent job on this, and especially the animation style. It's a little bit even different than the first one, and I like how they were doing dark versus light versus certain colors. Each character had different colors behind them, and then each character had different animation styles. When
Yep,
you met Spider-Punk, he had a total different animation style, and you're going through, and they had more characters, and they fleshed them out a lot more. Like, Miles was more in depth and he had more heart, and he was also more mature. And that was the one thing that worried me about my daughter seeing. I was like, well, it's a little bit of a more mature Spider-Man. But no, I thought they did a wonderful job in telling a phenomenal Spider-Man story.
I agree. I agree 100%. My daughter and I, if you're new to the podcast, last year or 2 years ago, we did Marvel Mondays. So every Monday, her and I would watch a Marvel movie. We watched it in timeline order, uh, the whole MCU. It was great. So she's a big superhero fan. Amazon had a 4K, like the 4K Into the Spider Verse for like $10. So I bought it. We watched it um, like 2 days before we went to go see Across the Spider Verse. And then we're sitting in the movie theater and I can hear her like gasping at parts. And she'd be like, Daddy, who's that? And I was like, oh, so there's a part where this doesn't like give anything away, but like
No.
there is a cameo from Donald Glover, who was a nobody or was a random guy in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I was like, oh, I think that's like a multiverse of this guy. And
Well, because well, you can, yeah, oh, yeah, I don't want to say
yeah,
his
yeah.
name,
I
but
don't want to give anything away. At the end of the movie, when they do the big reveal, the big cliffhanger, she hit me and she was like, "Oh my god!" And I was like, "Dude, I can't believe it." And she walked out of the movie theater, and much like you, Court, it reminded me of when I saw Ghostbusters 2 with my brother and my dad. And I walked out of the movie theater, and she screams, "That was awesome!" And she loved it, and I loved it. I'm watching for all these. I hit her during the PS5 part. I hit her knee, and I was like, that's the Spider-Man game on PS5 that Daddy has.
No,
Uh,
that it was Spider-Man 2 because
oh,
they
was
actually
it?
zoomed in on it, so it had the new HUD in the corner, and it was the, symbiote Spider-Man on the screen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, and then she would ask like, "Oh, who's that Spider-Man?" I was like, "Oh, that one's from the PlayStation game. That one's from." She was like, "Who's because She's like, "Who's Scarlet Spider?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh, these comics!" And I used to love reading Scarlet Spider, and they were so much fun. And it was just for me, it was a great throwback to all the Spider-Men that we have watched growing up. But then to watch her enjoy it as a movie, but then really come out of that movie like, this is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Let's go see it again. Let's go home and watch Spider-Verse. And yeah, it was great. It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Good.
I would say if you want to take your kid, I'm gonna say seven's probably the age and older. I would say any younger than that, I don't know. It's all based on your kid. I don't know if like a 4 or 5 year old will be able
So,
to
like I
handle the
said,
runtime.
she watched the first one at 4, but the first one is a lot of jokes and fart
Yeah,
jokes, and
this one
yes,
is
this one is a little
very
bit more mature,
serious.
but my daughter has been watching a lot of she's watched the first 3 Harry Potter movies, she's watched all 3 Back to the Futures. She's more mature for her age, she's a single
Yeah,
child, and that does change
she's
things, but
a and her
she's
dad's a
so into
movie guy.
superheroes.
Her dad's a movie guy, so
Yeah,
she's
like,
gonna have
we're
to
gonna
be
go see the Ninja
a movie
Turtles, and
girl.
then I'm gonna see Mission Impossible, and then I'm gonna decide. Because as of right now, Into the Spider-Verse is my favorite movie of the year.
Mm.
But I'm going to see Mission Impossible on Sunday, and supposedly I've seen people tell me they've already seen it 4 times.
Ooh,
Yeah.
dang. I can't tell you the last Mission Impossible movie I've seen. I'm not a big Tom Cruise guy. Not a big Tom Cruise guy.
Dude, Mission Impossible movies are amazing. He
Really?
does all the stunts. Like, I'm telling you, Pez, so Top Gun Maverick was unbelievable.
I enjoyed it. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Mission Impossible is on crack. It's just
Interesting.
action, 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 action. It's
All right.
just
I'm gonna have to
it's
check him
everything
out.
we grew up in the 90s times infinity.
I'm gonna have to check him out.
I'd say if you like the big action sequences in Uncharted, but
Wouldn't know.
yeah.
Wouldn't know because I played Uncharted one night. It was like this game's terrible. I don't wanna
Stop it.
figure
Stop
out
it.
these
But
controls.
I will say this.
Old game
Don't
over.
go see Indiana Jones. I know people that
No.
have seen it. It's just wait till it comes on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's supposedly pretty bad. But I want to
Oof.
see Mission Impossible, so I'm going on Sunday, and then I want to see Ninja Turtles.
Awesome. I want a
Ninja
Mission
Turtles looks
Impossible.
great.
Oh, Ninja Turtles look so good, dude. I know my friends want to go see it, and I know little Pezzy wants to go see it, so I'll be seeing it at least twice. At
Yeah,
least
I think
twice.
that's a day one. That's the day it comes out. I gotta go see that movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be a great movie. Gonna
So
be a
good.
great movie. So before we wrap this up, Court, any final thoughts to talk to the people?
No,
people.
honestly, so for everybody here, we had one topic, and that was the Microsoft thing. And I think we spent the least amount of time talking about it.
What do you? Yeah, true. I mean, this is how this podcast is. If you're new to the podcast, this podcast is built on 3 dads hanging out, talking about stuff that they like, old school video games, and sports and movies, and stuff that we enjoy talking about. That hopefully you enjoy talking about. Ultimately, for us, this podcast, we want you to be driving to work, listening to it like you're hanging out with your buddies and they're just chatting. That's what we want. That's how we run this podcast.
Having some beers down at the park.
Having a couple beers down at the park. Maybe hit up the Packy. Go to a Dunkies, get a nice coffee. Whatever works. We're not here to, we're not here to yuck your yum. But I would say my final thought: go play the Artful Escape. It's awesome. It's awesome.
And my final, actually, you know what my final thought is, Waba? Lucic is gonna be terrible this year, dude.
My god,
just terrible.
Stop, Waba. I know you're listening.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna listen. He's gonna
way.
be crying now. I just made him cry. For the
There's
listeners
no
out there,
chance.
Waba's crying.
It's crying. Children crying. Go follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/3dadspod. Or don't. I don't know if Twitter will be here by the time you listen to this. Who knows?
I think it will be.
It's not going
That's
anywhere.
the time for another thing. It's not going anywhere. People stop. Threads is already like you put out and it's just like it's into a void.
I've heard Threads is kind of garbo, but we can talk about that.
It's not garbo. It's just it's not there yet. So I think people like just going on Twitter to complain about Twitter. That's what I've come to the realization.
Millennials, am I right? Go follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/3dadspod. Check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/3dads on a console, where we will have content each and every Wednesday at 8:00. You will see our podcast live on YouTube. Maybe you'll see Court and I and Waba, but sometimes you won't. And until then, hope you all have a lovely week. Thank you so much for joining us. Robbie Bobby Miller, Mr. Ronster Kid, Martin 23 Kings, Christopolis, thank you all for being here during the live show. And have a great day.